What's a myth about men that's 100% untrue? Now, before we start, I want to say I am a shameless bath bomb user, and I want to make it clear that if you think they are for women, then you are wrong. Myth 1. If we take long in the bathroom, we are not always jacking off. Sometimes we're just enjoying a long shower or browsing memes. Myth 2. You know what? I did give a shit about my wedding day. I cannot believe the amount of people, mostly ladies, who just straight up assumed all you have to remember is where to be and to say I do, right? Ha ha ha. Fucking annoying. I had ideas of how I wanted it to look and how I wanted it to go as well. But my goodness, not a single person thought I gave a shit. Even though I was constantly trying to give my take on stuff, it was always met with, oh, you don't need to worry about that, or, oh, the ladies will figure it out. Like, this is infuriating. Myth 3. Men only talk to women because they want something from them. This happened to me a lot in middle school. In the beginning of high school, because I had a lot of female friends. I'm not girl crazy. It's just not hard for me to make friends with both guys and girls. Myth 4. How men are on commercials. How we can't do laundry, cook, raise kids, or anything without our wives coming to show us how. Look, assholes, I'm single and I do all my own cleaning, laundry, dishes, etc. I have never stared at a mop like it was a plasma death ray, nor have I ever had to rush out to buy dinner because I burned mine. Well, a few times when drunk, but that's not the same thing. I also am capable of taking care of a baby without having to call a woman to give me directions. I don't have kids, but I have younger cousins and whatnot. I can change a diaper and bottle feed just fine. Myth 5. I fucking love Bath and Body Works. I love mojitos, margs, and other fruity cocktails. I will always buy pads and tampons when asked. I cry sometimes. I can point out or notice a good-looking guy as a straight guy. This is the one that gets me the most. Sometimes I feel like I can't compliment a new haircut or whatever. I hate the no homo thing. A compliment isn't gay unless you make it gay. Myth 6. That we are emotionless. Sometimes it is not the right situation to show how you are feeling. Just because I'm not showing it doesn't mean I'm not feeling it. Myth 7. That they don't need compliments. I hate it when I do it to my male friends and some other acquaintance will overhear and tease me for it. But when I do it to a female friend, nobody gives a shit. I believe that guys deserve to be complimented sincerely once in a while, like everybody else. I struggle a lot with self-esteem and self-worth. I started seeing someone lately. She gives me a lot of compliments, and I honestly don't really know how to handle it. I have never exactly gotten many compliments throughout my life, and when I asked a few people I know about it, they all admitted they thought I'm attractive. I was baffled. The thought that I could be good looking is foreign to me, precisely because I never get compliments of any kind. My other male friends feel pretty much the same way. Myth 8. That if we turn down sex or unwanted sexual advances, there's something wrong with us, or that we should enjoy or be grateful every time we get approached. No, I don't like the fact that a stranger just grabbed my ass and tried to stick her tongue down my throat. What the f*** is wrong with you? Myth 9. I wouldn't call it a myth, but when a guy is helpful around the house and just courteous in general, sometimes a woman will say, your wife or girlfriend has trained you well. No, we managed to become decent human beings without a woman's help. F*** you very much. Myth 10. That every erection means that we are horny. Penis does what penis wants. Myth 11. That men can't be victims of abuse or domestic violence from women. Yeah, we can, and statistically, if we report it, there's a solid chance that we'll be the ones going to jail for it, even if all we did was take it and not fight back. Screw that. Edit, holy crap, gold for getting angry at a past experience. My brothers who have dealt with this, I'm sorry. I wish I had advice for dealing with it, but I unfortunately don't. To all others, FBI says at least 40% of domestic violence happens to men. We need to destigmatize this and make punishments just as severe for women who perpetrate abuse as it is for men. Myth 12. I hate it when I'm out with my kids, people jokingly say, are you on daddy duty? I've never heard someone ask a mom if she's on mommy duty. It's assumed that men don't take their kids places, and it really annoys me because I work full-time, but I also get my kids ready in the morning, cook them breakfast, prepare their lunches, eat lunch with them at school once per week, bring them to most doctor and dentist appointments. Myth 13. That only creepy men enjoy being around children. Seriously, I was standing in the checkout line at the grocery store the other day, and this woman's son, probably 5 years old, started showing me this little toy laser gun his mom bought him. I was just playing along and acted like I was super interested, as you do, and his mom gave me this angry look like she didn't want me interacting with her kid. I'm a f***ing 21-year-old guy, and people already think I'm a creep if I interact with a kid. Sweet. Myth 14. Apparently gender roles only exist when it comes to fixing something. I don't know why my wife continues to think that because I was born with a penis, I know how to refinish a deck or repair our dryer or put up new lighting in our kitchen. Myth 15. As a father of 5, 3 bio and 2 foster children, the automatic suspicion that surrounds me whenever I'm alone with my children is infuriating. One of our foster girls is black, I'm white, and I've had people outright follow me in public when I've taken her shopping for some one-on-one time. If you see a man with a child in public and you start with the assumption that he's a perv, that's sexism. Myth 16. That men can't be raped or assaulted, primarily from the stereotype that we're bigger or stronger than women or always wanna fuck. I wanna punch anyone that spouts that ignorant bullshit. Just because I have a dick or am bigger than a woman doesn't mean she can't spike my drink, get me intoxicated with alcohol or drugs, or otherwise force herself on me against my consent. Stop dismissing rape and assault based on gender, assholes. Was drugged at a party and woke up in a coworker's bed. She had been making passes and I just assumed I had drank too much and agreed to it. Couldn't remember a single thing after we left the apartment to head to the bar. Turns out she dropped a bar of Xanax in my drink and was bragging about it the next day at work. Wasn't even her first time doing it to people, I later found out. Reported it to the police and had to sit there insisting on filing a report. Nothing ever happened with it and I checked out fine in the STD department, so I just let it go. But holy f***, was it an eye-opening experience. Empathize with every person that goes through the ordeal and doesn't have enough proof that it happened. Myth 17. 2 guys being close friends does not imply secret gay love. I'm looking at you, fucking fanfic writers who seem to think men showing any kind of affection for each other means they want to do each other up the ass. Women, men need to be more open about their feelings. Men, show genuine friendship and affection with a male friend. Women, LMAO, you're gay. Myth 18. That men can't cook. It's largely a US-based stereotype, probably because of TV or movies, but it pisses me off because in my household, I've exclusively cooked meals for the last 7 years. Even when people hear that I'm actually the one that cooks, they get all giddy and say, "Oh, your wife is so lucky." It really isn't that big of a deal, goddamn. Myth 19. I fucking hate the dirty looks I get from mothers when I take my child to the playground. For some reason, I am considered a pervert first, before a responsible parent. Yes, I'm staring at the play equipment covered in kids. No, I'm not getting my rocks off looking at said kids. I'm supervising my own son playing with a random group of kids. It's like moms are allowed to have this unkept, rundown, tired as f*** look and be considered a hardworking mom. But an unkept dad, rundown, tired as f*** looking, and I'm a fucking child rapist. It gives me the shits, and now I have reservations about taking my kid to the park. In saying that, any scruffy looking man I see around a playground, I go on high alert. Story 20. That a guy wants to f*** all his female friends, and any guy who says he doesn't is lying. And it's always a myth perpetrated by some guy who wants to f*** all of his female friends. So just say that, asshole. Don't drag the rest of us into your friend f***ing fantasies. That suffix on any sentence is pretty much a red flag that the guy you're talking to is a f***ing creep. Myth 21. We hate rom-coms because it makes us cringe and stuff, or that we are just grumpy or whatever people assume. No, Karen, we don't hate them for that reason. We hate them because they put unrealistic expectations on men. In all those movies, they sacrifice jobs, college, etc. for a woman. We won't sacrifice a successful life so I can be at your ever beck and call. Myth 22. The emotional abuse isn't something we face too. We're often dismissed, discredited, or suffer in secret. Lots of men don't get help for this reason, that we can't say no. The perception is that we constantly want sex, and if we don't want it, it's because there's something wrong with the person who is offering sex. Let no mean no for us too. That any objection to a relationship is proof or fear of commitment. That if I'm explaining something that someone already knows, it's immediately construed as mansplaining. Guess what? Sometimes I'm trying to share information to help, and you know that information. I made a bad assumption. It isn't because you're a woman, and it isn't because I think you're stupid. I might just be being condescending regardless of your gender. I might just be over-explaining. Ask, I'll tell you. That it's okay for any woman to feel completely confident to tell me how I should be and what my partner wants in a relationship. Every woman is different and should be treated as an individual. Your tastes and values are different from every other person's, and as much as you know about women, you have never been a heterosexual male. Don't tell me how to be a man. I don't tell you how to be a woman. that every man shares common traits. I'm lumped in with every person with a dick, and assumptions are made about me, my perceptions, and my behavior because I have a penis. That boys growing up today don't experience shame at being a man. They are innocent people who have done nothing. They didn't ask for a dick. If your messaging is that everyone with a dick is evil, they internalize that. Myth 23. Sitting down to pee makes you less of a man. No, it's cleaner and less hassle. I don't have to aim. I don't have to worry about accidentally pissing myself when my piss decides to ignore the laws of physics, curve around the head of my dick, and go sideways. I know this is probably TMI, but damn it, there's good reasons to sit down to pee. Myth 24. I was in an abusive relationship for 2 years. I had my life controlled. I was isolated from my friends and family, and I shrunk to 120 pounds because of how little I was eating. I was offered no help to anyone I talked to, even when she threatened to kill herself if I left. It hurts me when people act like woman-to-man abuse isn't a big deal or doesn't happen. When I've tried to talk about it, I get responses like every guy claims their ex is crazy, immediately downplayed. It also bugs me, and maybe this is specific to where I live, that in the current climate, everything is about demonizing men. I really went through hell with this girl, and after finally pulling through, I'm rewarded with being frequently antagonized and told my story doesn't matter. I understand the social climate isn't personal to me, but after going through what I did, it's very hard to hear. Myth 25. If a man compliments you, buys you a drink, or shows you positive attention, they just want to get in your pants. This has always pissed me off. I think neither men nor women get enough compliments. Compliments always give people an ego boost. If you are a woman who looks hot, I might stop and tell you that you look nice. If you are working out and you got a nice build, man or woman, I might stop by and tell them that they look good and keep up the hard work. It doesn't mean I'm looking for a one-nighter, a phone number, or a relationship. I just thought you should get some feedback so you know your hard work or choices are paying off. Myth 26. That guys are only interested in one thing. Not only is this blatantly untrue, but it sets up all the other harmful precedents that are associated with being a man. I can't cook, play instruments, or dress fashionably without having an ulterior motive. I can't sit on a bench in the park by myself and people watch without being a creeper or stalker. I can't go to a yoga or dance class without being an ogler or pervert. I can't walk down a city sidewalk at night without being a potential rapist. I can't ever be genuinely interested in what she's saying. I'm only listening so I can get into her pants. Myth 27. It seems like one transgression can define a man in the eyes of some people. I've done some stuff that I'm not proud of doing, but I don't think that defines me today, nor does it define the body of work that is my life. In fact, it's made me reflect on my flaws and work to improve. Myth 28. That we're all constantly worried about the size of our junk. We aren't. Not all of us anyway. Most of us are secure with the size of our manhood. It functions, and we have techniques if we're below average size. It's not the size, it's how you use it. Myth 29. When my girlfriend makes it seem like she doesn't want to have sex just for me to give up trying, and then her saying no, she wanted to, she just wanted me to try harder, nope, it does not do it for me. Make it seem like you want to have sex, and then we will. Myth 30. That we are all rapists at heart. That men had some kind of institutional privilege back in the day, dying from black lung in the coal mines or getting gassed in the trenches in World War I is not privilege. That driving a pickup truck or owning a gun or doing anything masculine means we have a small dick. Stop thinking about our dick so much. That men can't be raped. In TV, slapping a woman is abuse. Slapping a man is comedy. That for men, sex is just a physical release. We have it for fun and it controls our every move. Sex is deeper than that for us. If a woman craves sex and seeks it out, she's sometimes called a whore, but sometimes she's called an assertive, strong woman who goes out and gets what she wants. If a man craves sex and seeks it out, he's usually just another sex-crazed pervert. There's also a misconception about dating. For men, dating can be very dangerous. We are always at risk of being thrown in jail and having our lives ruined. Any woman who doesn't acknowledge this is sexist. The list could go on for hours, but I have to go to work as a nurse who is male, so I've pretty much got to put up with a shit that women would consider sexist. Myth 31. That we earn more for the same job, and the whole idea of mansplaining. Some women will just go at you with that after asking a question just because they don't like the answer. That you're a pussy for not walking up to girls. They don't realize the sheer horror of walking right up and be judged by the person whose opinion matters most to you. I'll do it eventually. It's just the scariest thing in the world for some, to not be good enough. Myth 32. Men don't have unreasonable body image standards. Tinder and OkCupid compiled data and found that men generally swipe based on a normal curve, but women swipe on a beta curve where the mean is shifted to the 80th percentile. In layman's terms, men rate a 5 as average, women rate an 8 as average. Story 33. Disclaimer. These are my thoughts on the topic of this thread and are gross generalizations based on personal observations and experience. You are more than welcome to disagree. In fact, I encourage it because we're men. We really don't know what we're talking about, do we? All men are the same. No, we're not. You have a type, you're attracted to that type, and that type consistently lets you down. And that's every man's fault? No, bro. Literally every woman I have ever heard say that has never been with me, thus making that statement categorically untrue. Men only want one thing. Yeah, we'd like you to tell us what the you want from us, clearly and concisely. Stop trying to run the game or be coy and get pissed when we give up. Being flirty is one thing, but you gotta know when to cut the shit and shoot straight. Also, I want two things, an endless supply of gunpla and to live a happy life. But if I can only have one, being miserable whilst building an army of tiny plastic robots doesn't sound too bad. Men never listen. Communication is a two-way street and you have to know your audience. Do you show interest in what he talks about? You can't expect him to listen to you if you aren't willing to reciprocate. That being said, there are men and women with a personality of driftwood, so men get treated better than women. I'd argue that in general the opposite is more often the case, but I suppose it comes down to personal experience, the parties involved, and who is more willing to admit to being treated unfairly. Last but most certainly not least, chivalry is dead. Well, when everything these days is sexual assault, discrimination, or a thought crime, of course I'm going to avoid anything to do with you. I'll take a tweet about "this asshole just let the door shut in my face" instead of "this misogynist beta made me feel weak by holding the door and allowing me to go first and forced me to thank him, also he could stare at my ass." Also, in the simplest terms, chivalry's more like a code of conduct one elects to follow rather than something to be expected of an individual.